I'm Adeola Babatunde. Welcome to another edition of Pathway to Success. Today's lecture is titled, Do It Afraid. I'll start today's lecture by defining fear and talk us through how fear can affect one's dream of being successful in life. What do you understand by fear? Is there any major difference between fear and being afraid? Well, fear is an unpleasant and often strong emotion caused by anticipation or awareness of danger. Fear is completely natural and it helps people to recognize and respond to dangerous situations and threats. While being afraid indicates a state of action, symbolic of the flight or fight concept. What am I talking about? If you are afraid, you have the ability to act. That is, you decide whether or not you will stay and deal with a perceived threat. Whereas if you have fear, you simply have a condition from which no action may arise. This implies that fear is paralyzing, disabling the ability to act because there's nothing specific from which action may come about. Fear is a stealer of human potential. I would like to share a story with you. This is about two friends, one named Paul, the other one David. Paul is a timid person, while David is a go-getter. These two friends after college decided to set up a security company. They went for necessary security training, and after their training, they wrote a proposal which they sent out to different companies requesting to provide security services for them. Eventually, they got a feedback and were able to start running a company for somebody. Few months later, one man walked up to them to say he's got a company and he would like these two friends to provide security services for him as well. Paul, being the timid guy he is, was quick to tell this man that, sorry, our hands are full, we can't do it. But David looked at Paul and said, what's going on? Why would you say we cannot do it? We've always been talking about expansion. Don't you know this is an opportunity for us to expand? David told Paul that they were going to do it. But Paul went on to say, don't you know we're going to fail if we try it? Having another company to run is going to be a very big task for us. We're going to need more hands. I can hardly manage myself, let alone manage other people. How do you see yourself? You've always been talking about opportunities. Most people don't even know when they see opportunity. These two friends saw an opportunity, and instead of Paul to appreciate this opportunity and work positively towards making this happen, he decided that he was so comfortable where he was. Is that who you are? You are scared to leave your comfort zone and go to the world unknown. How then do you want to achieve that which you want to achieve in life? David insisted that they should take this job, and they were able to run this company for that man successfully. As we speak today, these two friends have got a big company. But for David, they wouldn't have been able to achieve that which they've achieved today. How do you see yourself? In life, you must learn to do it afraid. That is the difference between successful people and those who are not able to make it. When successful people see situations like that, they see it as a great opportunity and they work positively towards achieving that which they want to get out of it. You can do the same thing. If you're waiting for your opportunity to come and you continue by being afraid, there's no way you will know when opportunity comes. You have to do it while you are still afraid. That is the only way out. You are not ready to leave your comfort zone because you are so happy with your 9-to-5 job. Even though you have a dream, you are scared that if you stop your 9-to-5 job, you won't be able to get to where you want to get to in life. You are scared to pursue your dream because you are not sure of what will happen should you decide to pursue your dream. You will remain where you are and continue to suffer in silence. That is the way it is in life. Some people will say they want to wait for fear to go before they do what they want to do. If you want to wait, you're going to wait forever because fear will remain there. Do you know how this happens? When you are thinking of something positive, you have this thing called your subconscious mind, which will start telling you how difficult it will be, how you won't be able to achieve it, how people will ridicule you, how you're going to be a failure. If you are not able to fight this your subconscious mind, which is telling you something negative, you will remain where you are. You want to go for a job interview, but you're scared that you are too short, or probably you're too tall, or you're thinking you don't have the experience required. If you bombard yourself with negative thoughts, do you think you're able to achieve that which you want to achieve? You will get there and you will mess everything up. That's the way it is in life. Change that your negative reasoning to something positive for you to be able to get that which you want to get in life. What am I talking about? Do it afraid. Successful people do it why they are scared. Be ready to leave your comfort zone for the world unknown. That is the only way to do it. How can you fight your fear? Fear is something that we deal with every day. Some carry theirs around. The most important tool in the fight against fear is to name it. Why seemingly obvious and easy to do? This is very difficult a task and not to be taken lightly. One reason why it's so hard to name fear is that the human mind is very subtle and can trick its owner into thinking that the fear has been named when only a superficial or symptomatic symbol of the fear has been identified. The second reason why it's so difficult for us to name our fear is that we invest heavily in our fear. It takes great effort to build a fear and maintain it. Removing this fear brings the threat of internal judgment about the cost of that investment and its relative worth. So, once again, the fear holder will tend to avoid naming fear so that she or he does not have to face the reality of having invested in something of little or no value. Fear is hard to fight because it has no face, no substance. The nameless unknown. The natural inclination of humankind is to resist the unknown. Fear is a sneaky thing which creeps up on us when we least expect it. It can creep our souls and steal our dreams of being successful. If I told you all my silly fears, you would laugh because the list goes on and on and on forever. But I've learned that amazing thing. I do it afraid. I step outside of my comfort zone and I fight my fear. You can do the same thing. Why is it so easy to let fear stand between us and our dreams? Do you know how it all works out? First, we think of something that we really want to accomplish. Then we start to list all the great benefits this venture will bring into our lives. And just when we are really getting into it, some part of our mind comes up with, oh, are you sure this will work? Are you sure this is the right thing to do? People will ridicule you. Do you know what we follow? A list of negative possibilities designed to throw a wet blanket over our great idea. And what do we call this? We call it a reality check. But is that the accurate thing? No. Why do people repackage fear and call it reality? We do it because calling it reality makes our hopes and dreams seem like fantasies, and it saves us from having to face our fears. Or put another way, we do it because we are afraid. How can you conquer self-doubt? That which keeps telling you something will not work. Even the most self-confident among us will experience doubt from time to time because we can't completely avoid it. We need a strategy which will allow us to contend with it and conquer it. So, what is the difference between those who are able to overcome this insidious foe and those who are controlled by it? Before we go into that, let's talk a little about what doubt is and why it likes to creep into our lives like a party popper and throw a wet blanket on our motivation. Self-doubt is that feeling of uncertainty about your ability to accomplish something. This dark shadow of insecurity can lead to hesitation and indecision. If left unchecked, it can cause us to abandon our course or radically compromise our expectations in life. What then can you do? Number one, acknowledge its existence. You cannot overcome something until you first recognize and acknowledge its existence. Oh yes, you must be able to identify this and know that yes, you have self-doubt. That is the only way you can work around it. Number 2, analyze your doubt. Spend some time drilling down and figure out what triggered it and why. When you analyze feelings, you make them vulnerable logic and reason. Normally, feelings override logic, but questioning the validity of feelings brings them within the reach of reason. Number 3, psychoanalyze yourself. If you can figure out where the feelings originate, then you can eat them where they live. You don't need to psychoanalyze yourself back to childhood or anything like that. Just try to get a handle on the area of your life that creates your sense of uncertainty so that you can work on it. Number 4, is there a pattern? Do you have a history of self-doubt in this area? Doubt tends to have favorite places to hang out. This raises the likelihood that we've probably experienced it in a similar situation before. Think back. Have you been down this road before? Did you overcome your doubt? If so, what steps did you take? If not, what can you do differently this time around? Number 5, work out a plan. Sit down and plan out a strategy for defeating your doubt. Make an educated decision about what to do next. Choose a path that you think will lead to conquering your doubt. Next, put your plan into writing. Number 6, look ahead for possible challenges. Now look at your plan and try to identify possible challenges along the way. Is there some areas that you need help with? If so, ask someone close to you to give you some encouragement. Sometimes some foresight and a little support is all it takes for you to be able to overcome your self-doubt. Number 7, which is what most people don't do, take action. You have a plan. The next step is to put it into use by taking action. Stick to your plan and ask for help if you need it. In fact, encouragement is good even if you think you can do it alone. I would like to share another story with you. This is the story of a young boy called Daniel. After his master's degree in law, he decided to pursue his PhD. He wrote a proposal which he sent out to few universities. Eventually, he was invited by some of the universities he had sent his proposal to. He picked the one he wanted and he went there. On getting to this particular university, there was a professor who was asked to interview him. The professor looked at this young boy and said to him, "I haven't gone through your proposal. I want you to do something for us which will help to know whether we want to give you admission." Daniel looked at this professor and said, "What do I have to do, sir?" Then the professor said to him, "I want you to come and deliver a lecture." This young boy was surprised. "Lecture? Sir, I don't want to be a lecturer. I just want to study for my PhD." And this professor looked at him and said, "Well, you delivering a lecture will help to know whether you'll be able to handle that which you want to do. Don't be scared. You're not going to be taking the students. It's just going to be 5 of us, myself with 4 other lecturers. I'll give you the necessary handouts and the links you can use to do your research. If you want to do it, you'll be expected to come back to this university in 2 weeks' time to come and do it." Daniel looked at this man. He wanted his PhD and he loved the university. He said he was going to do it. So, he was given the handouts with some links to use for his research. This young boy went home and he started preparing himself for this lecture. The very day he was meant to go for this lecture, something set in. Do you know what happened to him? Fear set in. You know, when you're about to do something, especially as you're planning, your subconscious mind will start telling you, "Do you think this will work? This is not for you. You are going to fail. Don't forget, you're going to be facing professors, doctors, those who are much more intelligent, much more learned. How will you cope?" This young boy was able to fight his subconscious mind to stand still. He knew that what was required of him for him to be able to achieve that which he had set out to achieve is to go and do it. He left his house, And when he got to the university, that professor was waiting for him. The professor now took him to where other 4 professors were. When he got to this room, he was a bit scared. The professor said, well, now we're here now. What have you got for us? Just about the time this young boy was about to start delivering the lecture, do you know what happened again? Fear set in. This time, he told himself that regardless, he's got to do this thing. This young boy did it afraid. He delivered the lecture and he did it really well. At the end, all the lecturers clapped for him. The professor shook hands with him and welcomed him to the university. That way, he was able to study for his PhD in that university. Daniel did it afraid. He didn't allow his subconscious mind to take over his life. One thing is for you to have a dream. If you do not pursue your dream by doing it afraid, you may not be able to achieve it. This young boy fought his subconscious mind, which was telling him that those people were superior people. He was able to do that, and I believe you can do the same thing. What is that thing you want to go in for? Your mind is telling you it will not work. It will work if you put in your best. It will work if you do it while fear is still there. Why are we afraid? Well, the list will vary depending on the situation, but some likely candidates are fear of the unknown, fear of risk, fear of failure, fear of ridicule, fear of change. Now, we only need 1 or 2 of these to dispense with minor aspirations. On the other hand, if we are trying to talk ourselves out of a major dream or goal, we may need to mobilize a small army of fears to get the job done. And how do we justify getting in on our own way like that? Once again, we call it reality. When we hide behind the term reality, it makes us look reasonable instead of fearful. It's like saying that any other choice is just plain foolishness. And now we can retreat back into the safety of our comfort zone without losing face. Our own sense of insecurity makes us feel protected inside that wall. And so we find reasons to stay there out of harm's way. The problem is, we also wall ourselves off from all the wonderful opportunities and experiences that make life fun. Without risk, there's no sense of adventure, no excitement, and no real passion. Before I go any further, let's acknowledge that a manageable amount of conscious apprehension is not a bad thing. Rushing to something new without taking the time to weigh the possible adverse consequences is not usually the cause of wisdom. In fact, a manageable amount of fear can often be transformed into excitement and motivation. So, the kind of fear we are concerned with is the kind that limits our ability and willingness to reach for our dreams. Any form of fear that hinders our ability to act in the direction of our heartfelt desire is a serious handicap that needs to be addressed. The hidden reason why fear can move us to compromise our goals and abandon our dream is the fact that insecurity is the granddaddy of all limiting emotions. Every person on the planet has an inherent and insatiable desire to feel safe and secure. On a subconscious emotional level, we would naturally try to avoid anything perceived as a threat to our sense of security. It's important to realize that most of these negative emotional anchors are only perception. They have little to do with any real threat. Then again, life is perception, so to us, they will be as real as we choose to make them. The key to breaking down these walls and vanishing the fear is found in our ability to alter the way we perceive any situation and the emotional anchors to attach to it. We don't need to change reality, just our emotional interpretation of it. This is where learning a few advanced life skills give us total control over how we feel and how we experience life. Have you ever wondered why some people embrace challenges that causes others to retreat to safety? How can the same experience represent excitement to one person and paralyzing fear to another? We might be tempted to attribute the difference to degrees of self-confidence, but where does self-confidence come from? Self-confidence is what results when our perception is reinforced by our experiences. The thing to keep in mind is that our perception has a strong influence on our levels of commitment, which often determines whether or not we succeed in life. How much difference can you create in your life with a subtle little shift in perception? Sometimes the difference between a happy, successful outcome and failure is only a slight shift in perception. How we represent things to ourselves determine how we will respond to any given situation. In turn, our response will help determine the outcome. When life hands you a challenge, how do you feel about it? What is your initial internal response to an emotional level? What is your external response as seen through your body language and verbal expressions? Why does it even matter? Changing the way we deal with impending danger or tragedy is very involved. These are either major emotional events which involves a healing process or sudden unexpected situations. However, most of the crippling effect of fear that limit people on a daily basis fall under the heading of uncertainty. I call it the what-if syndrome. What is the what-if syndrome? What-if syndrome is a negative mindset being expressed in the future tense. Since the mind is only creative, this is an extremely dangerous way to project your energy. It can easily become a self-fulfilling prophecy. This is true even if your thoughts are something like, I don't think I can do it. I don't want people to laugh at me. What if I fail? You have to change this. What you're really projecting is something negative, which means you are afraid. So, right away, your creative mind goes to work, looking for a way to manifest the very result you are fearful of. What can you do? You have to change your focus. The obvious solution here is to stop projecting fear into your future. I will suggest a twofold approach. Number one, you need to shift your focus in a much more productive direction. Number two, it's a good idea to identify things that encourage feelings of insecurity and eliminate them from your life. This second step can have a huge impact on your overall outlook. For you to be able to achieve that which you want to achieve in life, you have to learn to do it afraid. Successful people don't give up. When you're faced with situations, you have to learn to deal with it. See it as a major challenge which you have to fight to stand still. In life, your subconscious mind will always crop up, especially when you want to do something positive. The way you fight your subconscious mind will determine the outcome you will get. If you refuse to do it afraid, you will remain where you are. Try and leave your comfort zone and go to the world unknown. That is the way to go about it. It's not enough to say you have a dream. If you have a dream and you are scared of going into the world unknown, you will not be able to accomplish your mission. So many people die with their dreams because they don't know how to do it afraid. They want to wait for the right opportunity to come. And when opportunity comes, they won't even know there is opportunity. If you're saying you don't want to do it because people will ridicule you if you fail, anyhow you look at it, people will still ridicule you. Those who did it well, people still ridiculed them. So what are you scared of? Why not do it afraid? Do it just to achieve that which you want to achieve. Don't let people's criticism stop you from doing that which you want to do. You are not a failure. If you hold that tightly and you work positively by doing it afraid, you will accomplish your mission. That is the spirit. Go for it. I would like to know if this lecture has been of any impact to you. Please send your mail to info@daviddanielsconsultancy.com. You can get this material and all other materials of Pathway to Success by visiting www.daviddanielsconsultancy.com. Thank you.